Independent Senior Sales Director, Connie Ackroyd.
I've prayed for this year, to my unit. Thank you for growing with me this year. I stand here today, not as the number 3 sales director, but representing the number 3 unit in all of Emerald Seminar. All year, we've been announcing you as the top 3 sales unit of all of Emerald Seminar, and to have this day come into fruition, and to have you here. I would not be here with all of your perseverance, your hard work, and your belief and trust in me. I love each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart. Today, it's about you. Thank you. And to my hero, my mentor, the woman I aspire to be, Gloria, you mean so much to me. To have you read my accolades and to know that you have inspired this woman to change. Thank you. This speech has been inspired with you in my heart. Thank you. I started my business 5 years ago. I was a waitress for 15 years. And I decided to start my business for 2 reasons, and 2 reasons only. One was the priority of faith first, family second, and career third. And the second was the income. Because you see, at this point in my life, I had more month than money. And now what I find out is that that is the norm. And I couldn't afford my mortgage. And to me, it was far more easier for me to become uncomfortable and step out of my stepping stones, step out of my comfort zone, rather than someone lose my home. And so that was the day I was presented with the opportunity, and I gave all of the excuses like anyone would. Didn't have time, didn't have money, didn't have a lot of friends, and I didn't wear makeup. And so that was the day my sales director said to me, Connie, because you don't have money, is that the reason to do this or not to do this? And I said, she's right. Because I don't have money, this is the reason for me to do this. And then I had to be honest and tell her, I have $5 in my checking account. I was to order the starter kit. And then she asked me the question that changed my life. Are you a find a way or make a way? How many of you here are a find a way, make a way? Raise your hand. I will tell you there's not many, because so many people would cave into their circumstances. They would cave into their excuses. You know, I went home and I remembered that I had a jar of quarters, a jar of change. And so I rolled up 12 rolls of quarters, and that's how I started my business 5 years ago. Thank you. And you see, for 2 years, I worked my business. I didn't do it fast, I didn't do it slow, but I was persistent and I was consistent. And I held a minimum of 2 parties, week in and week out, without fail. And if one canceled, the next week, guess what? I held how many? You bet. And I did that for 2 years. And at this time, I was working for corporate America. I was overworked, underpaid, and I was so underappreciated. How many of you feel that right now? Woo! That's right. And then I was given the opportunity to go to seminar in 2009, where I heard my hero, Gloria, speak on change. And I was sitting right up there in those nosebleed section, where I saw her on stage. That's right. That's where dreams come true, when you're all the way up there. And I remember my husband hitting me, and he's saying, are you listening to this, Connie? And I'm like, yes, stop it. He said, no, Connie, are you listening to this? And I'm like, Brian, stop it. Let me listen. And I heard it, and I heard it. How many of you know you've heard it this weekend? Well, I did in 2009. I went home and I decided to change again. But this time, it was going to be to increase my activity. And that's what I did. See, I was in dead red for 2 years. Can you imagine that? And it wasn't that I was dead red, it was that I wanted more. And some people are happy that way, but I wanted more. I was working for corporate America, and I wanted to be appreciated. And I saw the wealth and the bounty of what this company and Mary Kay Ash 50 years ago did for us. And I said, we are all entitled to this. So I went home and I went to work. 3 months I became a sales director, and I had the time of my life. I continued working the same activity. I held 5 parties a week, day in and day out for 2 to 3 years. And as a unit, we completed for our first 3 years Circle of Excellence, and we landed in the $800,000 unit circle. And you know, you would have thought that that was enough. But to me, something was missing. I hadn't had any offspring. And I began to wonder, am I doing something wrong? How could this be? How could I be this woman in this position and not be able to transfer the skill or give our job away? Because you see, isn't that what Mary Kay wanted? For us to give our job away? But how? What was I missing? And so that September, I was in Monaco, France, with my top sales director girlfriends. And I was in the pool with now National Sales Director Diane Menteply. And isn't that amazing how iron truly sharpens iron? We hear Gloria say that all the time. And she was now a sales director. So we were in the pool and she asked me a question that I've been asked again and again and again. But this time, it was different. She asked me, Connie, are you ready to build leaders? And I looked at her and I said, yes. You see, the months of July, August, and September, I was working. I was working my personal business. That's what I did. I knew how to work full circle. But now, it was time to make that shift. I knew I had to make that shift when I left seminar this past July. But how? Did I have the courage? No. Was I scared? You bet. So I decided to take her trust and to make that change. And so the months of October, November, and December, I started focusing differently. You see, I always shared the opportunity. I always worked full circle. But my recruiting came as a result of selling a product. But you see, these next 3 months of October, November, December, my focus was different. It was, who is my next sales director? And isn't that the purpose of the party, ladies? We hear Jean-Guy say that all the time. And this time, I was doing it. So I continued to work, and then came January, and I was frustrated. How many of you here are frustrated, or have been frustrated at one point? We've all been there. I was frustrated. Where are my offsprings? You see, I wasn't patient. I don't think we give ourselves enough time to be patient with this business. We want things yesterday. But you know, God has a plan for us. And when you're patient with Him, He'll give you the bounty of everything that you deserve to be. And so I went to leadership, where I was at my point's will's end. And I went there not receiving anything, and then came home. Extremely frustrated. Extremely frustrated. No, extremely frustrated. And my girlfriends called. And this was the intervention call that I like to say. My girlfriend's executive sales director, Christian Rogers, and now national Leah Carter, did a 3-way call. And you know, we hear Gloria say this all the time. Decide who you choose to surround yourself with. Because people are either going to take you higher or take you lower. They'll never leave you the same. So surround yourself with elevator people, not basement thinkers. And these were women that were rising. And so there was the 3-way call, and they were like, Connie, we love you. And it is time. You don't know what you don't know. And you need to trust us, and you need to go and invest in yourself and go to coaching school. Because you see, they were telling me this for a year now. Passed it off, because nothing was wrong with me. But now, I heard it again, and so I went. It was the best 2 days of my life. I got on that plane so fast after leadership, after coming home, leaving back again. My husband, so supportive, Brian, I love you, thank you, called me, and he said, it was like I was in camp. He said, Connie, did you find out what was wrong? And I said yes, and I wailed, and I cried. I said it was me. Because you see, I was being a director, not a leader. I knew how to give the results on how to get on the court of sales, court of sharing, get a Cadillac, become circle achievement, all of that. I knew it backwards, frontwards. I knew the calculations. I knew the strategy. I knew how to find the people. I knew how to give it out. I could put it on paper. But what my unit needed was a leader, not someone to give them the answers. So I learned how to take the player off the field, which was scary, and be a coach on the sidelines. You know, that was the scariest thing I ever did. I had to trust in others and not in myself, but I believed. I knew that if I asked the questions and I cared for them enough to know that I trusted them to come up with the answers, that everything was going to come into fruition. And so that was the time when my now first offspring sales director, Kate Dussel, came into my life. And she was already right now. And I came home from leadership and I said, Kate, things are changing. She was the only person that I had working at the time. And I said, Kate, things are changing. I know things are going to be scary, but I'm going to be a different person. I'm doing a complete 180, and everything that I taught you up until now, these last 2 months, throw out the window. It's going to be scary, but I need you to trust in me so that you can be a better leader than I ever was. Isn't that what we want? We want others to be better than ourselves. I mean, that is really the true meaning of success. And so she took on this journey and she trusted, and within 5 months, she earned her car as a consultant and became a sales director. Everything was starting to fall into place. We now have our second DIQ, Amanda Greer, finishing this month. Our number 3 DIQ went in yesterday. Our number 4 and our number 5, 4 and our number 5 are already lined up, and I know God's going to be pouring number 6 and 7. And by leadership, we will be an elite executive area. And bring National Home 2014 with God as my partner and these amazing women who trust in me. I want you to take in this seminar, everyone, and don't be afraid to change. Have the courage to know that when you have obstacles, and I love this quote, and I'm going to quote National Sales Director Ori Hathaway. She says, when obstacles come in my way, woohoo, they're like stepping stones that take me higher. Are you welcoming those obstacles? Are you welcoming those setbacks? Because you see, all of those points of frustration, was I frustrated? You bet. But was I patient? Maybe not. But did I know things were going to come around the corner? Absolutely. My sales director always used to say to me, Connie, frustration precedes growth. I wanted those parties yesterday. I wanted to be on the court yesterday. I wanted everything yesterday. But we have to be patient. And during those frustrations and during those setbacks, things will get better. And so if you are at that point, welcome it. Know that there's always sun coming around that cloud. And I want you to take this seminar and ask yourself, what is it that I need to change? Is it my personal growth? Is it my activity? Is it being in front of people? What is it that you need to change? Because God is going to welcome you, and He has a bigger plan than you have ever imagined. And so I want you to take my story, and whenever you are afraid to change, I want you to remember that God is implanting in you everything that you need to be, to have for your future and for your seminar. So ladies, have an amazing flight home, enjoy your seminar, and remember, one woman can change